connect things and start up. And when you've done your last experiments a few weeks later, we'll have a look at it again, see that everything is okay, dismantle it, and then it can pass on to the next guy. Okay. So we make a start and end appointment, just in order to keep track of the state of the equipment. All this is my other stuff. So this is the symbol that you will be searching for, the MQS. I turn it on the back side, switch here, and it needs to heat to operating temperature of 190 for both of these. We are not there yet, but we can show you how it works. It won't measure precisely, but it's good enough for an illustration. I said the measuring cell needs to be cooled. So now we have room temperature, so which is way too hot. So normally we go into the instrument monitor here. On the fourth tab. And in that we have a single beam strength, which we want to see. So that is actually its spectrum of whatever it's measuring, which is nitrogen at the moment. So we will add this until we get a suitable signal. And again, handling this stuff, again require glasses, write up a short safety assessment to your supervisors. They will ask for it anyway. The main part about this is that you pour something very cold into a closed chamber, it will bubble a lot. Depending on how carefully you do it. Still don't have any signal. There's also one of these funnels at the other FTIR. There's also a larger vessel which you can mount if you want to run for longer periods of time. If you fill this one, it should be working for around a day or something like that. So this is okay for 1 day's work, but if you know you will do it several days after each other, it may make sense to use the larger one.
I saw on this loom how I connect the back tank with the FTAR.
The what?
Back tank.
The large tank?
Yeah.
It's screwed.
It's screwed.
Yeah. So it doesn't just turn it around and it will fix itself. At the bottom of that one there's a valve which you need to open if you pour something into the cylinder.
Yes.
Because otherwise the air will never get away.
Yeah.
So when filling it, you probably have to open this valve out at the side. It looks like something like this.
Yes.
Just that you know that otherwise it will never fill. Do we have anything yet? Nothing.
Now it's on signal.
Okay, so we got the first weak one. But look at the amplitude of it. We are at 0.04. Very low signal. You can also see it by the noise of it. You get a bit here, which is water and CO2, which is always around. So we get a bit of hits. But you want this signal to be of the magnitude of something like 1.5. So it's too weak now.
Yes.
We will prove it further, then it will improve. Yeah, around 1.5 is what we aim for. Then it's strong enough for us to measure something with any kind of precision. We're getting there. The heating up also takes some time, so preferably try to turn it on an hour before you want to measure or something like that. Connection wise, it always has this two-way option where you have sample pipe, usually heated if you want to measure on something containing water or ammonia, these kind of things. Otherwise you will lose a lot in your piping, so try to make it heat traced. And as an alternative, always a nitrogen option, which you can go for. So anytime not measuring on sample gas, you're running nitrogen to the instrument to keep it dry and in a safe operation state. And there will be the same things on the other one. When doing sampling, we depending on your system, you may need to use a pump in order to get it through here. So this is the connection here. We have this warped piping, which is in the case of water compensation. We just need to get rid of the water before the pump so we don't drown it. So this is this safety option, and then you can put a piping here to remove the water if you wish. As far as I remember, the other setup it has a pipe and a valve to drain. Otherwise, turn on the pump and then you're certain that you get a flow through here. This system is running at under pressure, so without that one I wouldn't be measuring nothing. Some of your systems may be over pressure reactors, and then you don't need it to the same extent, depending on your operating pressure. Well, yes, that's so. Okay. Again. Another important part when it's up to signal strength is every day before you do measurements, you do a signal to noise ratio test. And previous users have noted their results in this one. So you do it based on 4 scans. We do that in a minute. And it gives you out 3 outputs of signal strengths. And then in essence we try to use this to keep track of whether it's steady, whether it's declining. If it's declining, less signal, more noise, then we need to consider what are we running through it. Are we passing something through it? It can't handle. Can we do something to pre-treat our sample gas? Because otherwise we will end up being unable to measure anything.
Wow.
So a declining ratio here is a warning sign that we need to discuss again what can we do in order to do this in a manner where we still get some reasonable results. And it is in this diagnostics pane we have this signal to noise test. And then in the setup you can define 3 ranges, how many iterations. You can see he usually does 4 scans. So here we have the different ranges and the different values.
Yep.
Again, these values are very, very high because it's not ready. So I'm just using it to show you.
Okay.
They will be much nicer when we actually try to do it hot. But just remember to do this test and see how it's performing over time. Yeah, you can see these are 2000, so it's very noisy at the moment, but because it's not ready.
Just record of noise. I don't know. Photo of that.
Does it make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Good.
You can go back to the monitor here. Let's see, I guess this should be a bit higher now. Yes. See now we're getting close to reasonable values. Normally I will continue pouring into this one. When it's filled, you can see tiny droplets running
Yeah.
along the surface here.
Yes.
Then you
Sure.
can't get any more into it. And then you just close it off. Measurement side wise, we go in this first pane and we do a setup defining what we wish to measure. And here we have the scanning times. So background is always double the actual measurement, and often this is 3216. For the last thing I did, I needed a faster response time, so I declined it. I will get more noise by doing this, but things were running very fast, so I needed the higher resolution. It's a trade-off depending on whether you measure steady state or transients. Again, you can see by doing this, I got it now down to a new measurement every 7 seconds, which was closer to something I could use. Up here we define what gases we want to measure on. And this is what is available in our current library. I haven't selected them all. I've selected the ones I expect to find. You need to understand that it actually scans the entire IR spectrum, and then it does trying to fit what I select based on what it sees. So if I select a lot of things which are not there, it will try to find them anyway. And that will likely not be that, it will be a side reaction from one of the other ones.
Yep.
Because one compound has a lot of different IR peaks
Yeah.
associated to it. So that's the important part of only selecting what likely will be there, so you don't give it any false ghost signals that it tries to fit into. I ran propene to it the other day, and curiosity I also chose propane, and it began seeing both of them. It saw too little propene, but it began seeing some propane because it interpreted something wrong. So just do a consideration about what is likely around. Then we choose where to store our spectra, and this is the interpretation. So this is concentration units.
Yeah.
So that is, it concludes, okay, we have 10 ppm ammonia. That's what it writes. And it will do that at timestamp, and then all the concentrations that you selected. So in the end, it will look up, let's see, nope, that's the other one. So it's PRN. Something like this, only nicer. These will disappear. But you can see the different gas species which I chosen
Yes.
to measure, like the other docs you have seen from other gas setups. So this is what you get, and I can try to play around with. Another important part is this, whether you choose to store spectral data or not. This is not a file, this is an entire library,
Oh.
because this is a lot of data, but if you collect it and subsequently find out, I forgot there may be CO in this one,
Yep.
you can go back with your spectral data, interpret it again, and actually get your right concentrations. So it costs a few megabytes, but I always save these things because I have the option to go back and be wiser.
Yep.
So I would highly recommend you to do these kind of things. I'll just change this to test, so I don't override anything I've done already. And then do custom folder. So now I've actually set it up for measuring something. Then we can do running, and then by drop down panes here I can select 6 different species I want to follow. Of course it will log all of them, but I can, the important ones which I potentially change now is the ones I will look at primarily. And in my case it will be NO, to sulfur, bit of ammonia and nitrous acid here, and water, because I add water. Important thing, which I probably didn't mention, what is in parentheses here is the max range that it measures. So how high it measures. And for some of the species there will actually be 2 different options. So ammonia, there's a 3 and a 3000.
Yeah.
So depending on where you measure, one may be better than the other. I of course measure between 500 and 100, so I need to enable both of them. But just important to keep in mind that you choose the right range. Some of them, like CO2, is only available in percentage. So it actually requires quite a bit of CO2 for this one to see it. And that is the recipe, the package you could say that I get or have bought. I'm working with engine, so I have a lot of CO2. And it's the same with that one. So it won't be good at low concentration CO2. So you probably would need another analyzer for that kind of thing. Yeah.
So at present we can only detect carbon dioxide in quite high concentration. And what's the low limitation at present?
Percentage.
Oh, okay. That will be a big problem for us.
Okay, but you do have the other analyzers which do ppm CO2.
Gas analyzer. Okay.
So that's another option.
Yeah.
That is what we bought so far. There may be, likely there is, it's able to buy a recipe. But again, that's an expense that your supervisors have to consider. But that's their goal. But right now it's really focused on combustion gases, which normally are high. Yeah, but important point to remember.
Yeah.
The same goes for water. Measures this in percentage. So it's not doing very good.
Yeah.
You can of course do a gas bottle
Big
test.
problem for us.
If you have a gas bottle with CO2, 500 ppm, you can try and see how well it responds. But again, consider what range you measure. Do a test with a gas bottle potentially to see how well it performs.
Okay.
Otherwise, you need to go for different libraries, different recipes in order to get this to work. That's the way it is. It shows in blue individual values,
in ppm.
We change the unit.
and the red one is the average, which you define over here. So that's the last 10 measurements, and also the first number here is the latest one. This is the average, and this is the standard deviation that you get before. So you can see when it stabilizes. Again, right now it measures nothing on nitrogen, so it's not a very exciting measurement. But for another one, it will spike even out around 500 ppm and O. Standard deviation around 1 ppm or 2 ppm. Then it's pretty stable for me, and it's good enough for me to continue. So that's the main. Yes. So that's the very basic introduction on again how to use it. Is it still relevant for you to measure, or do you need different concentration ranges than what we're talking about here?
I guess we can just go on learning this one and find if there is any other possibility. But I guess I want to learn how to use this.
You will give it a try.
Yeah, I would, because Christian has once measured the concentration of water in about 5 very low concentration.
But I guess either he's doing something outside its range. Yeah, I guess he is. Otherwise, he's using another recipe. My guess is he's doing a measurement outside its range. There's no low concentration water things here.
Okay. No worry, I will go back to recheck data I've already got from him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's because to me it looks like he's measured
Yeah.
in a risky way.
Out of the good range.
out of specs, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that is because we bought it for combustion applications. That's what it does at the moment. If your supervisors are interested, I will of course check what the prices are for the other stuff. If it's really important. Okay. Yeah. So that's a short version. Do we need to still connect that and do a test, perhaps tomorrow or something like that?
I want to do the
On your
connection.
setup?
Yeah. Still.
Okay. For how long do you expect to use it?
Just now this is the situation. We just for me and Ifan, maybe we borrow 1 or 2 days from this one, Wang,
Okay.
and later in fact is Wang using it
Oh, yeah.
for a very long time.
For the same setup or was that SCR?
No, his own.
His
And
own.
besides our
Okay.
divorce in 137.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's try to connect it tomorrow morning then.
Tomorrow morning, okay. That's
And,
alright.
do a startup and see that it's in a steady state,
Okay.
and then do it from there. And
Yeah,
then,
it's a steady state. It's a steady
and then when you finish, then we will just disconnect it, and it goes to the SCR guy next, right?
Okay.
Okay.